Darius Leonard, aka Shaq Leonard, we changed his name, released by the Colts. Jim Irsay tweeted out, Colts Nation will always remember the Maniac's palpable energy on the field. With these $6.5 million in injury guarantees, that may be why they cut it.
At this point, you're very much familiar with the Mike curse. Days where Mike decides to take the day off, goes to the gym that happens to be way too far from his home, that has extra amenities, and then right when Mike gets to that gym, breaking news that none of us could ever imagine or expect drops. It happened the day Aaron Rodgers got traded to the New York Jets, and it's happening right now. And to be honest, the news that I have for you today is way more unexpected than the Aaron Rodgers trade, which we were all waiting for. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. This is our third video in 24 hours on this channel. We've been working tirelessly to make sure you guys stay up to date with everything going on in the NFL. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! For the last month and a half, I have plugged in the same freaking ad in each and every video to remind you guys that every single time PrizePicks does this, we end up making money. The last time it was with a Steph Curry free square. This time, it's for Thanksgiving, so we have a few days to lock this in. All Christian McCaffrey needs is 1 yard, which he's gonna get a yard in order for his square to convert, which means we only need to get 1 pick right in order to 3x our money, or 2 picks right to potentially 5x our money. I'm gonna post my picks onto my Instagram at @TheFlightMike, and make sure you use my promo code Mikerophone to double your deposit up to $100 when you join PrizePicks. It's worth a shot because historically we have a great win percentage on this. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody?
Ooh, extra voice cracking for this one today.
Each and every single year in the NFL draft, there's one team that without a doubt dominates the rest. For example, this past year, the Houston Texans went off, selecting CJ Stroud, trading up for Will Anderson Jr., finding Tank Dell later on in the NFL draft, and even finding a diamond in the rough in Jarrett Patterson. In the 2022 NFL draft, the New York Jets dominated that draft, selecting Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, both of which would go on to win Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year before finding Breece Hall in the second round. And if you go all the way back to the 2018 NFL draft, the team that dominated that NFL draft the most, at least in my opinion, was the Indianapolis Colts. It took them almost 6 years, but finally, they decided to address the offensive line, selecting Quentin Nelson with the 6th overall pick. But you can make a very legitimate argument that their best pick was reserved for the second round, where they selected Darius Shaquille Leonard with their second round pick, a player that would go on to win 2018 Defensive Rookie of the Year. I can't understate how incredible Darius Leonard was in his rookie season. He had a very similar start to his career as Micah Parsons did, in the sense that right away he made a gigantic splash and became the best linebacker in the NFL. There was no question about it, leading the league with 163 combined tackles and 111 solo tackles. And he would keep this energy for the next 4 years of his Indianapolis Colts career. The year after, 121 combined tackles. The year after that, 132 combined tackles. And the year after that, he led the league in forced fumbles. By the time the 2021 season came around, this man was already a 4-time All-Pro, 3 of them being first-team All-Pro, 1 of them being second-team All-Pro. And in 2021, the Colts rewarded him with a 5-year, $99.25 million contract, which was $52.5 million guaranteed. But during the offseason, Darius Leonard would have surgery on his back due to nerve damage that he sustained on his discs. And a lot of people believe that this would be the beginning of the end for Darius Leonard. In 2022, he didn't really play as much. He played in 3 games because he sat a majority of the games due to injury. And if you look at his statistics this year, it seems like on paper he was about to pick up where he left off. At this point of his career on the season, Darius Leonard has 65 combined tackles, which is remarkable considering how he played 9 games. But football isn't just about how good you are at tackling players. Darius Leonard has also regressed mildly. If you want to compare this past year to his most prolific season, in 2021, Darius Leonard was one of the best run defending linebackers in the NFL, earning him a 91.1 run defense grade from Pro Football Focus and an overall 79. This past year, his run defense is now a 64, his pass rush is at a 49.2, his coverage is at a 56.4, and his overall is a 60.3. So you might be wondering, how did Shaq Leonard's PFF grades drop, especially if his tackles are up as much as they are? And there are two explanations, and you could go in either camp. I don't think one's necessarily right or wrong. You either believe that Shaq Leonard's back injuries led to him getting nerve damage in his leg, which completely reduced the explosiveness that he used to have, and because of that, he's afraid to initiate contact because he's scared of re-injury, and as a result, he's significantly less aggressive. And then there's Shaq Leonard's theory, which is the prevailing reason why I believe he ended up getting cut here, because the Colts believe one theory and Shaq Leonard believes a different theory. Shaq Leonard's theory is the fact that he's just in the wrong scheme for himself, and we have a whole article that's going to do a deep dive into that, and we'll be able to come to a conclusion about whether or not he's right in regards to that. But what's important here is the Indianapolis Colts are out on Shaq Leonard. According to Shaq Leonard himself, who posted this heartfelt message to Indianapolis: "Indy, I want to thank you for accepting me and my family with open arms. These past 6 years have been nothing but incredible. Through the good times and the bad times, y'all stood by my side. I apologize for not bringing that trophy back to the 317. The energy in Lucas Oil has been nothing but amazing, and I thank you for every memory. I'm thankful to play for such an amazing fan base. I love you guys and wish the Colts nothing but the best. Maniac out." Shortly after, the Indianapolis Colts announced that they're waiving Shaq Leonard, which is insane if you think about it. 2 years ago, this man was on the top of his game. Now they're out on Shaq Leonard. According to Ian Rappaport, a former All-Pro and Pro Bowler, Colts linebacker Shaq Leonard was one of the game's best, but his playing time dipped this year, which he's spoken publicly about. Now he's been waived. So Shaq Leonard has been on record saying this multiple times, and this article from Diana Rossini and James Boyd really does a nice deep dive to give us an idea of what's going on. The Indianapolis Colts waived 4-time All-Pro linebacker Shaq Leonard on Tuesday, the team announced. Here's what you need to know. Shaq Leonard was on a Hall of Fame trajectory before undergoing 2 back surgeries last year that limited him to 3 games, and he has not been the same dominant player since. So that's one side of the equation. That's probably how the Colts view Shaq Leonard. And as a result, Shaq Leonard grew increasingly frustrated with his diminished role this year and repeatedly voiced his displeasure. Even when Zaire Franklin, the NFL's 3rd leading tackler, missed a game, Indianapolis opted to play undrafted 2nd-year pro Shangan Olubi over Darius Leonard. The linebacker didn't ask for his release. According to a league source, this was a team decision, and excluding last year's injury-riddled campaign, Leonard returned fully healthy this year, but is playing a career-low 70% of the team's defensive snaps. So if you're Shaq Leonard, you believe you're in the wrong scheme. If you're the Colts, you might think Shaq Leonard is washed. So Rossini actually goes into what this means for the Indianapolis Colts and why the Colts would do this, and it's very simple. Darius Leonard's production has not lined up with his salary, even if it seems premature for Indianapolis to cut him mid-season. It also appeared to be inevitable. Leonard signed a well-deserved 5-year, $98.5 million extension in August of 2021, but this year he was essentially reduced to being an overpaid rotational linebacker. He still has 3 years and $46.8 million remaining on his deal, and the Colts could have released him at the end of the season to save $12.1 million in cap space, with just an $8 million dead cap hit in 2024. But that still doesn't really answer the question. Why cut him now? You're obviously better if you have him on the roster as opposed to not, unless if you felt like he was too much of a distraction. It's unclear at the moment how Leonard being cut prior to the end of the season will affect the Colts' dead cap and cap space for next season. But one thing's for certain, they refuse to pay Leonard as a star player since they no longer believe that he is one. Leonard is still owed $6.1 million for the remainder of 2023, making it highly unlikely that a team will claim him off waivers. He'd then be able to choose where he plays next year on a lower salary, with the Colts picking up the tab on the difference. So throughout the season, man, you've heard Shaq Leonard calling out the Colts, and it gives you some examples here. It's just different this year. Either I'm hammering the ball back to Zaire or spilling it into the safety. I'm not as free as I once was in the defense before. There's this one play where Ezekiel Ezekiel Elliott reportedly outran Shaq Leonard on a 19-yard gain on 2nd and 8 when the Colts faced off against the Patriots. And the Indianapolis Colts didn't even trust Shaq Leonard on 3rd down this season. Leonard has only played 21 of the Colts' 134 third down snaps, which is 15.6% in 9 games. And the last time he was on the field for a 3rd down play with more than 2 yards to gain was in week 6. So it still doesn't make a lot of sense why the Colts would just cut Shaq Leonard, but I do think this is the best thing that could have happened to Shaq Leonard, because if he truly believes he could still be that player, then he should find himself a situation that will allow him to be that player. Do I think Shaq Leonard is washed, or do I think the scheme that he was in was just bad for him? It's really difficult to say, because either side could be true. If Shaq Leonard truly believes he's still that same player, then I think the most likely team to sign him is the Chicago Bears. You might be wondering, Mike, why the Chicago Bears? Well, I know this is going to come as surprising for some. The Bears actually do have an up-and-coming defense. A few weeks ago, they swung a huge trade for Montez Sweat, and then they paid him very handsomely. They have one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL on that defense in Jalen Johnson, Yannick Ngakoue, and although I don't think they're one of the best defenses in the NFL, I think they're definitely trending in the right direction defensively. You have a lot of assets, so I think this team is going to look significantly different next year, and it's the right opportunity for Shaq Leonard to go into a defense and potentially be a crucial part of that defense that elevates them to that next level. It also doesn't hurt that the defensive coordinator that he's experienced the most success with, Matt Eberflus, is the coach of the Chicago Bears. So I expect the Bears to pursue Darius Leonard heavily, and I'd expect him to go to a roster that would allow him to play a similar role that he once did, as opposed to trying to join a loaded defense for a chance to win a Super Bowl. I'm going to throw the Philadelphia Eagles in there as well, because, well, Howie Roseman is a shark, and it seems like he will always try to get the best player that is available to fortify his defense. The linebacker position is a very weak spot for the Philadelphia Eagles, so I'm just going to throw their name in there as well. I'm leaning towards the Chicago Bears, though, personally. At the end of the day, I really hope Darius Leonard could get back to where he once was. I don't think it was necessary for the Colts to cut him in the middle of the season, at least cut him at the end of the season. But let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.